All right, and we are live. What's going on, kings, queens, and phenomenal beings? Episode 2, a Fella to Phenomenal podcast. We on the roll because it's a week from the last one. Back at it with my boy Terrence.
Hey,
See to me.
what'd you say the second part?
I say Terrence to you, T to me. Nah, man. Just here, Fella to Phenomenal Podcast, giving you the information, inspiration, uh, connecting you to resources if you join the community, giving you support on your journey from Fella to Phenomenal, letting you know it is possible. We're doing the real work, and we're not out here Kodak blacking. And I said that because Kodak Black, he's a rapper. I don't know if you know T. I know you be deep in
I
your
know he's a rapper. I do know
okay.
that, but I don't know what the reference to it, what he did.
Okay, the reference is he's on some type of papers and he violated, got a drug charge. So money ain't enough to keep your butt out of trouble. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely not.
We
Absolutely.
on the mission, on the mind change, the heart change, the action change, so we don't never have to get in them chains again.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? He got all the money in the world. They got to go back and and shower in front of everybody. Okay, so
Exactly.
because he
That's
can't stay away from the drugs. He hasn't managed his life in a way he can stay away from the drugs and stay away from jail. So yeah, he's facing a violation at this point in time, which is not his first. So success alone, like I said, when y'all chasing a bag, that ain't no goal, man. You know what I'm saying? You got to be
definitely
out
not gonna get you out of there. I got a
there.
family relative that he switched positions. He wasn't as drastic as I was before I went in, and now I came home. I'm on a whole different page. He is like an extremist, and his mindset is always, I got the money to pay myself out. I say, so what you thought I was broke when I went in? Like, nah, that's definitely not the concept. When it comes down to that, though, money can only give you a temporary release as far as them not being able to have something substantial and big enough to put you away. But regardless of the case, they're making documentations of those things over and over. And once they get enough to hold you long enough that they can actually benefit from that, they just don't keep doing it. But that don't go away. Even with the cases that you get dismissed, I have several cases that have got dismissed where it was flabbergastic to a lot of the bondsmen's people, where they thought was like, how did you manage with your record in this? How you get that dismissed? But when it came to the parole board, when I was getting ready to leave, they showed they bring up all those dismissed cases. I was like, wait a minute, that one should even been on your record. It's got well, it just shows that you went to custody for it. So that was a repeater pattern of all these other ones. You might have got that one dismissed, but it was a repeated pattern from all the other ones that definitely you was charged for. So the behavior still stands.
Come on, man. That's good right there. That's your pattern, man. They brought up that pattern. Like you had all those opportunities. Why should we give you another one?
You hear me?
Hey, that's
You
the
hear
thing,
me?
man. Boys out here on this journey want to play the victim, bro. You just show proof right there. You had opportunity after opportunity. Opportunity
Yeah.
after opportunity. Dismissed cases, probation, parole. Those are chances.
Yes.
Those are chances. You know,
Right.
they ain't the best, but they are the direct response and consequences to your actions. Like you just have to be honest with your action. And for those of y'all, I ain't talking about the people who innocent. I ain't talking about the people who need, psychological help. I ain't talking about the ones in the streets. I'm talking about the ones who made a mistake. Own that, and let's and do what we got to do to go from feeling to phenomenal, man. We just gotta own it.
Absolutely. Because I can tell you right now with what my probation before I was incarcerated, my mindset wasn't even to do it.
Mhm.
That's what I'm saying. They gave me the opportunity to be free, to be out here, to be able to live amongst society and be civilized with everybody else. But when I leaving, my mindset wasn't to do probation. My mindset wasn't to browse to the circumstances, wasn't to go find no job. It wasn't to go stop doing any of the criminal acts that I was actually doing. My mindset was the same way that I was doing and I was living, and I was going to continue doing that. So it was going to be a matter of time that I was going to violate, because it wasn't going to be any change of the behavior. Know what I mean? So it's definitely that you have to accept the fact, okay, this is what it is, and be able to take the initiative and do the things in order for you not to get, just like what you said with Mr. Black. He not thinking about smoking weed when he was leaving out when he got the paper. He knew he was thinking about all of the UA things that he can be. He was thinking about all of the gadgets that he can take, all the type of pills that he can take to clean his system out before he go there, so that way he can still enjoy himself and still get off of those papers.
Yeah, man. I don't know what the drug was, but it didn't say marijuana. It was something else. He really out there. I don't know, but that was just a little snippet. It was just the point that the fact
Right.
that the man
Yeah,
is
sure.
violating his. Oh yeah, fentanyl. Yeah, Kodak Black wanted by police after fentanyl came back positive in his drug test, causing him to violate his bail conditions.
What is fentanyl?
Hey man, look, that's something we gonna have to do research on. This is something new that's popping up. Fentanyl is not actually the recreational drug, but I,
Right.
I believe this is something that they're cutting,
Okay.
using to cut
Right.
in the pills and cocaine and stuff like that. So
Right.
people are having traces of this and dying from it because obviously it ain't a good cut.
Right.
But this is not that podcast, so
No.
we gonna move forward.
Right on.
All right, man. I wanted to tap into something, man. I was gonna text you. I attempted to text you several times, and I deleted it because I said I was gonna save it for the podcast.
Just you and
So,
me both, T.
this, well, we
I got two notes over here that I was attempting to text you and call you. I say no. She told me save for the podcast, so I sent some notes to myself. But we gonna start with you.
absolutely, yeah. I only got one, so you can roll with your two after this. So, no, but it's in reference to you alluded several times in conversation about that transition from survival mode to thriving mode, and we've kind of talked. You talked about your feelings about it and where you feel you are. On the Monday night momentum calls, I kind of gave the kind of breakdown to help people kind of identify where they were. But one thing I didn't don't feel like I clearly stated, and one thing we haven't talked about in conversations when we talk about it, that it's a mind state and it's not a place. Thriving is a mindset and it's not a place that you can get there through action alone, if action is even a contributor to it.
Right.
Thriving comes after the other stuff we were talking about. It comes after forgiveness, after acceptance, full acceptance of where you are. After the forgiveness, acceptance, and dang, what was the third one? I forgot. Well, yeah, love. Yeah,
Right.
full forgiveness, full acceptance of your current situation, and fully loving yourself
Loving
for who
yourself.
you are and who you are not.
Right.
So once those things start to elevate, rise in your life, then that's when thriving kicks in, because then what happens is you no longer feel like you need to work as much because what you have is, for lack of a better term, good enough. But
Right.
it's not that that's all you're going to have, because you're going to continue working, but it's no longer to to the detriment or to the excess,
Because it
because
won't be motivating you. It won't be pushing you, making it rash decisions. Because that's basically what that be. It'd be an emotional decision that you're trying to make happen. The finances that you want to happen, rather if it's just coming along. So it's kind of like what you're saying. Yeah, this is a result of the goal, but don't let it be the motivation of the goal. Because in that sense, then you're missing a lot of the things that you're learning and becoming in between those times.
what part are you saying? Don't let that be the motivation of your goal. What part are you saying?
What I'm saying is accumulating the money.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So I was just speaking on that specifically because
yeah.
when like getting the money is the motivation in itself, then you're losing like all of the things that you are that's attracting the money, because it's a total different things than you're going to get the money and then you're attracting the money. The money is going to come to you once you're actually being and doing the things according to who you are, whether you're doing the things in order to obtain it. Because once you're doing the things in order to obtain it, then you're missing the link in order to keep it. Because then you're gonna lose fast. It's like that thing that I was talking about how the generational wealth decreases within the third generation, because those things are becoming who you want, who you need to be in order to obtain what you want. Is definitely meant. So in that sense, I get exactly what you're saying, and that fits right as far as understanding that accept that, because that's one of the things that I came to accept too, that I'm in survival mode, and I'm accepting to being in survival mode, but not to stay in survival mode. I come become, and what I think it is I'm satisfied with what I have. Not to mention is just recognizing that the blessings of what I have right now, that I don't even need to be in the stress. All the stress that I'm putting on is for myself, because I'm trying to gain the end goal right now, and I want it right now. And it's not that time, because there's the, like they said, it's those three things that you need to learn and love. For one, I'm still getting into the feel in the equation of who I am today. And I can honestly say that. And accepting who I am today and living out who I am today, and not allowing, like you said, forgiving yourself the past of how I would act, intervene in that. Of course, it's going to be there and be a part of it as far as the journey that I'm going in, but it don't have to be there. It says if I'm carrying it along like it's a backpack with my school supplies that's in it, you know, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, man. I got you. I got you. And so I just wanted to share that piece, and make sure that that is something that all of us are aware of, and also to pinpoint too. After you came home out of that whatever the transition home was, I recognizing that like about 2 weeks after that, that's when my thriving mode kicked in, and all I was doing was resting. And I didn't
Mm,
even know that that's what that was, because I was starting to feel bad because I wasn't working as much. But I was cool because my bills was paid.
right.
So as I garnered more rest and process things and start to do more things that were of my interest and my purpose, I was like, oh yeah, this is a sweet spot.
Yeah.
I have arrived. I've garnered
Okay.
more control over my life.
So why do you think that, even with it be noticed to you, that resting stage needed to take place for when you stepped out and you realized that, hey, you ain't about to step into your sweet spot, or even when you acknowledge that you are in your sweet spot? Because matter of fact, I'm sorry, I wanted to start this thing off with congratulations and kudos, and applause to you. These past two or three Monday momentum calls. Shout out Monday momentum calls. Hey, them
Gang
boys
gang.
are booming. Gang. You have been operating smoothly,
Hmm.
in the way that you like handling yourself, in the way that you're communicating, in the way that you're presenting yourself, and it's smoother than what it was before. Not saying that it was bad. Definitely not saying that it was that, because all the information that you give is good, but you can definitely tell that you're in that sweet spot. I was sitting back today and I was watching you and seeing how you were operating. You definitely look more confident. You were smoother with your talk, with the way you were talking, and you were just like cruising. It's kind of like a flow, like we used to do it all the time ago with the freestyle. All we needed was the beat. So yeah, I definitely want to applaud you on that. Now back to what we said. I'm sorry.
Thank you. I appreciate that, my man.
Can you refresh me where we was at?
I don't know. You were starting to ask me a question about that moment when I was
Okay, right. So the question was, is that why do you think that it was significant for you to get that rest, even be noticed to you, before you stepped off into that sweet spot stage?
I mean, on the surface of why was it significant
Hmm.
to get that rest, because I was in extreme grind mode. I had all the variables, in the beginning. It was, oh, I'm working this hard because I lost so much time because I made poor decisions and I got to make it up. Then it was, oh, well, Now that I'm past that, okay, no, I can't make up for time, but I got so many ideas and things I'm trying to accomplish right now. I mean, my money still ain't right, but and then it became, well, shoot, I'm just in a groove. I've created this. Like, gosh, man, I'm working
Mm,
my butt off.
mm,
And
yes.
then it got to a point where I start turning things down. Nah, I don't need that. I'm not gonna do that. And really, it got to the point where things started happening around me, and I was forced to take off, like catching COVID or just different things where I would be out of work, but I still had everything that I needed.
Absolutely.
So then I'm sitting at home, dang, I haven't worked in 2 weeks, and I'm good. So when time to go back to work and to working at excess, it's like, nah, I don't have to do this, because this right here is not the end goal. This right here is not me operating fully in who I am and all that I have to give to the world. So I have to do less of this and start over here, and the start over here could be determined. Some people may stay in survival mode just because they don't want to start nothing new. Don't nobody want to be
Right.
a novice. You just told me my flow got better. I was rusty,
Right.
dusty, cracking, trying to get it together. I was in the gym. You know what I'm saying? I was throwing up bricks. Not to
Yeah.
say that the information wasn't good, but it was only facts.
Right.
It was not with my energy. It was not with my storytelling. It was not with all of the information that I had,
Mm,
because I'm in my head,
mm,
but I did it anyway.
right.
So therefore, committing to the new stuff, I no longer have to hold so tight to what was sustaining me. Now I can transition into what is going to grow me.
That's good. That's good stuff. I mean, because you made some valid points with those. For one, that you had to get that rest, and then when you stepped in, that you made the time. It's like you present, because see, those are some of the things that I take into consideration. What you really did is you really stepped off into one of the things that I made a voice memo for, as far as me understanding like a situation that I'm dealing with personal, from the surviving to thriving. So it's like you were in that grind mode. That grind mode was necessary in order for you to build what you need to build internally. So that way, when you do make time for that, for your own space, where you actually start to push away certain things, you'll have that energy, you'll have that understanding, you'll have that determination, you'll have that commitment, you'll have that dedication, you'll have that discipline and that consistency that you learn in that grind mode. Because when you're in grind mode, you literally had to do that in
Yeah,
order to just survive. So
yeah,
it built the internal attribute in you. So when you actually got into the time when you don't even have to do all this stuff, extra stuff, you'll still have the muscle of what you learned in that grind mode in order to utilize for the people that you have today. And it also just, it's kind of like added on who you are as well.
oh, absolutely, man. Imagine what you could do when you come out of a survival mode, when you come out of grind state and you did a whole bunch of stuff you didn't want to do.
Yeah.
So imagine when you get into the thrive part and you starting to do things that energize you, things that make you feel good, things that bless other people. Come on, man. I love Mondays. I need a t-shirt, man. I love Mondays, man. Mondays off with your book club. Then I do my own life coaching group where I'm the student. Then I backdoor and do Momentum Mondays where I'm sharing information that I have. Then we backdoor and trying to get consistent on putting out the podcast, because this is free information. This is
Right.
free information out there,
Right.
because I ain't trying to gatekeep nothing, and people need to know that it's possible, because there's so many people that have overcome this obstacle, and society has shamed people so bad they don't even talk about it.
Right. They living on them limited beliefs that we just got to talking about on Monday Momentum Call. Because this world is definitely putting them beliefs inside of their mind. We ain't thinking about if it's our culture that we grew up in, the environment that we grew up in, the people that has done us the way that they done us, society and the way society is, because they don't give us no chances, no opportunities, put those limited things in our mind. Like you said, it's whether it's things of ourselves or if it's things of someone else. Like I'm sorry, I forgot his name. That
Oh, my
did the
boy
Monday movie.
MW.
MW. It was like what MW was saying. Some of those things, all these things kind of connect together. You thinking about what someone else think of you, or thinking about what they actually are thinking you, or thinking about the things that you are thinking yourself. Them are limiting beliefs, mindsets that's actually hindering you from moving forward, from progressing, to stepping out, doing the things, even if it's something simple as far as doing the research that you need to do, or even just letting go of some of the things that is keeping you from moving forward. Because sometimes those chains of bricks that's holding you down can also keep you from doing it when you even have the tools and the utensils to get there. Sometimes we have too many tools and utensils. Just imagine what the army people doing when they got that whole luggage behind them, and some of them ain't able to persevere. They got to go through stages where they can actually endure for them to fit a 60-pound backpack on them on a long haul. And some of us got thousands of pounds of tools that is not even meant for us to have or to use, trying to go on this journey with us, that can also be here and there. So those are also limitations that keep us from going there. I mean, you said a mouthful with
Absolutely, my man. But yeah, so that's what I got. What you had? What was your notes?
I mean, it's crazy. We already kind of dib or dab into it. Okay, one of the notes that I made was, okay, I sent text message myself.
Okay.
Back to acceptance. Like I said, my list is very long on the things that I am learning to accept as far as with myself. But why is it important for me with acceptance? Acceptance changed my attitude, giving me the desire and the motivation to change.
Mm-hmm.
I have accepted the facts of how my appetites, the things that I fed myself internally, has changed. So that acceptance is changing the things that I desire to feed myself with has changed, and built up an appetite to change a different type of food. So that means a different. I use, I use analogies all the time to paint those type of pictures. So what that acceptance is to me internally is actually accepting the fact that the type of food that I fed my mind with, I no longer want. That I need a different form of food in order for me to feed off of, in order to nourish my body, to nourish me, to nourish my heart, to nourish my soul, to nourish my everything, my spirituality, as far as for me to grow and progress as well. So, that it was like a hunger. So when we look at it, it's like we always say when a person first started off and whatever they're doing, that they're hungry, that you can tell that they're hungry. Some of these people lose that hunger once they get famous, and they just start putting out everything, and they just let their name just sell. One thing I do know is that we are brand. We are brand within ourselves. We discussed this before. So when we are out here branding ourselves to others, we start off hungry. But are we going to stay hungry in the process? So it's just kind of like the understanding of that acceptance, that I now became hunger for things that was going to nourish me in a more healthy and productive way. So that's kind of like what that was for me. What you think about that?
Nah, I'm gonna ask you another question. Well, not I'm gonna
Okay.
ask you to dig a little deeper because you gave the food analogy, but what are some specific things you are feeding yourself, or I guess the transition from the bad food and the good food is like I want to clear that up for people. It's like, okay, yeah, we get it. What's the food? But what's the food specifically? What are the things that you're feeding yourself
I'm a
um,
I'm a
that to
stay
facilitate the growth?
I'm gonna stay one in general, like for the topic that you brought from surviving to thriving. Okay, I made a survivor decision as far as to try to step out of survivor mode, to place myself in a position to buy myself more time for other things that I want to do in order for me to start thriving. So in that sense, I'm trying to increase my pay at my job and hoping to become a manager there. With that being said, whether or not if I get that position or I stay in the position that I am, where I'm an employee, steady learning a lot of the lines, steady being utilized everywhere else, which I consider survivor mode. Because in that particular mode itself, I'm not promised anything. I'm under the discretion of their time, whether if I get short amount of hours, long amount of hours, and that will determine on how much I get paid. So in that sense, that puts you in the mode, okay, should I get another job somewhere else? I started off with 2 jobs, but then what I did in that sense is I took away one so that way I can spend more time with other things that I want, but at the same time still commit myself to another job. So in that, what I did in particular situation is I felt the anxiety in myself of worrying, stressing myself on, you know, am I doing the right things? Am I saying the right things? Like, are they even still considering it, or are they just stringing me along just to keep me satisfied so that way I can continue doing the things that I'm doing? So when I had that conversation with myself, I just became to accept the fact that, look, it doesn't even matter if they do give me that position. What matters is all of the things that I am learning while I'm there, everything that I'm gaining while I'm there, as far as my interaction with the people, as far as the learning how to deliver and as a great leader, because there are some leaders there that I can learn some things as far as being there. I don't actually have to implement them there. So I'm gaining a lot of things within myself. So I became to accept that it don't matter if they give me the position or not. I'm not going to change who I am. I'm not going to change what I'm doing. I'm going to continue to be that. And I'm just going to accept that and learn as I go. But then when God says the time to move, whether if it be with them or if it's somewhere else, then when that time come, after I become that person, then I will make that change. And it's normally when it kind of presents itself. Did that answer the question?
No.
Okay.
But I do like the example. But now you got me thinking something else,
Okay,
because
what it has
you
you
know
thinking?
how we started off the conversation. I wanted to share about the thriving, being a mindset and things like that, and you just shared a moment where you kind of like try to intentionally go from survival mode to thriving mode through
I
action.
did do that.
Yeah, that ain't how that works.
I see that.
See,
I see that.
the thing is, and that's why I mean, shout out to Kiki for giving me the title of mindset coach, because when I found out, like, because this is specifically for the Fell into Phenomenal group, because a lot of us did a lot of things, and I feel like I can stand on this and say it was mainly money driven, and that is nothing, that is not a goal, because if money is your goal, what you are willing to do has no limits. But when you are intentional and you are a person of character, morals, values, and principles, you operate in a particular way. So when you're on this journey from life and you're transitioning and you're becoming better, it's not about your results. It's about who you become. It's like what you're chasing makes you something. So if you start aligning yourself with more goals and achievements that resonate with you in the inside and not just about money, you will become just an overall better person. And it goes back to that attracting those particular things in your life, and things will start happening that you didn't even know were possible, you didn't even think of. Because yes, the plan or the goal or the outcome is a target, but who you becoming in that process, and the possibilities are endless of what happens, the interactions you can have, with people, how you can, bless people, or impact people,
Right.
the things that you can achieve, and it's overall just satisfying.
Right.
Overall just satisfying, man. So yeah,
That is true because I've
yeah,
had a lot of situations, even in the midst of that, where those opportunities have been able to be presented. I'm talking about with my coworkers, as
yeah.
far as our engaging, the interacting, in the broad, and me stepping out of my comfort zone with a lot of areas of things that I normally don't do. Um, you know, co-workers are co-workers in my mind. But who's to say that they can ever be friends? They can never be more than just co-workers if only you're just giving them the time to present themselves or who they are and present yourself, and you'd be surprised on how much we have in
Absolutely. So now back to my other question. What I was talking
Yeah,
about, I was
you right
talking
on
about
point. Okay.
the food. You said
Okay.
coming, gaining a level of acceptance of the food that you needed or now need, as opposed to what
I
you
got you.
were feeding yourself then. I was just asking for specific.
I think I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
What you right? What you? I think I know what you mean. For one, we discussed this before. Resilience. Okay, being resilient. I think this is someone like a part of that food of
Okay.
that change
Okay.
of that appetite.
Okay.
As I've been here and watching a lot of people that are mature in their emotions or even knowledgeable in their emotions, um, the way that they operate and the way that they process and the way that they deal with it. For me, what I'm learning right now is I have to be in the circumstances to be able to identify with the experience. Okay. People ask me people I told my sister asked me to be a co-host on her podcast and everything. They say, "What do you think about that? How you feel about it?" I mean, feel good. That's my response. But then last Monday when I do it, I see it. I'm looking at myself in the, I
Mhm.
see it after I watched it. I see it. Oh, I'm excited. I
Mhm.
was I was very, of course, I was grateful for it.
Mhm.
I was honored for it because just knowing where you at, everything that you've been through to changing this thing from Fight Club to Fell into Phenomenal, and
Mhm.
just hearing you the years that you had to put in, since we've been separated, into investing in that. That's what makes me feel honored is that you consider me as a participant worthy enough to join you in this, knowing that you work hard for it. And where I come from that with is when you build things with your own two hands, you're very discreet with who you allow because they can tear it down or they can build it up, and it pertains on the type of character of the individual. So when you did that, that what made me feel honored. But it wasn't until I actually did the podcast when I can actually say I felt their excitement. And with a lot of the circumstances that I'm going through, I noticed that I have to be involved in it for me to experience that. But because of that, I also understand that I have to allow those emotions to be acted out. I have to allow myself to feel it. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? In order to build up that resilience, to endure, to push through, to be withstanding myself in all of these things that I'm even trying to present myself in that I know is meant for me. But if I don't have the resilience to do it, I'm not gonna last. People chew you up and spit you out quickly because it's a tough world out here. And we learned that it's a tough world through a lot of the things that we placed ourselves in by the choices and the mistakes that we made from the past, that we can see that it can be a tough world. But now that we place ourselves in that position, we have laid a carpet down for people now to categorize us in that, which I don't think is okay because we all have those things. But at the same time, as it is what it is. So that's one of the things that I think that it is good as far as that. And patience. I'm gonna also say patience. I'm not a very patient person. Everybody says that I'm patient is because I'm a very restrained person. I do know how to restrain myself. I'm strong-willed, so I do know how to restrain myself. I do know how to bite my tongue. Like I don't have to say everything that comes to mind. If I'm comfortable with you, I say everything that comes to mind. If I understand that you're in a certain level in your life or your journey, I can say everything that comes to mind. Or if I feel that there's something that's definitely going to help you and there's something that you just need to hear because you're just not hearing anything else, I'm going to say what's on my mind. But I'm a very restrained individual. But a lot of people say that I'm patient in the way that I'm dealing with. But that's the grace of God. It's because I have learned who I am as an individual, but I'm not patient. I, like the internal things that I go through with myself will show that I'm not patient, but I don't exhibit those to others because I restrain what I really want to respond in. So I would say impatience. And how did that present myself? I'm trying to place myself in thriving mode. That shows how I am impatient. When it comes to others, because I learned how to engage with others, so I'm mature in that category. But when it comes to me placing myself, I'm still impatient, and because it's something I'm unfamiliar with, I'm trying to take myself literally out of survivor mode to thriving mode. It's not gonna work. I learned that the hard way. By impatience did that. I've been like that since day one. When I came, I didn't even do no rest. to allow the transition from one spot to another spot that are totally contrary to each other to take course. I came out and hit the ground running, and I
Let's
wanted
be
to.
specific about that point that you're making.
Coming from home from prison and
Yes.
getting into society. I
Yes.
was not, yes, coming from leaving the penitentiary and coming into society, I did not allow myself the proper timing to allow that transition to happen. I came out and went straight for it because I felt like I had to do the same thing that you were talking about
Yeah.
and redeem the
Yeah.
time that I had
Making
lost.
up for time. Yeah.
Making up for
Yeah.
time.
That's
Making up
good. That's good. Did you have another point that you had saved? That you
for
said?
time. I did, but I think it's still again, like I said, I think it ties into everything that we were talking about, specifically about you. To oh man, it won't even let me. It was tripping too. How did I listen to it the last time? Y'all give me a second. Bear
You
with me.
made a little voice message, huh?
I did made a voice message, but it was a to myself. Oh, here we go. If I can come in as a kid, and I don't have to worry about working this evening because I'm supposed to come in for the night shift.
You gonna have to listen to it and reiterate it. We ain't gonna can't hear that.
Four to close. So this is happening consistently. I technically had plans today to go to church. Okay. And brunch and Juliet and making reservations for like 6 months and never end up making it. Okay, so what it consists of is the phases that you had to go through, where you were in grind mode, and from that grind mode, you had to do certain things and come to a certain period of your life. Again, it's from that surviving and thriving thing. It's kind of me accepting that. Where now you can make your own schedule. You're your own CEO for your life. You're the own, you don't have to be up under someone else's guidelines as rules as far as that. What ended up happening is that I had plans for Sunday. My plans for Sunday was to go to church and go to brunch to Juliet's that I've been trying to go through for like almost 6 months.
Okay.
Yes, you. Yes, I didn't know what Juliet's was.
Yeah, yeah. I went there for my birthday.
I know you did, and that was funny that you went there for your birthday because me and Renika has been trying to go there for months. I'm talking about months, and we always end up canceling the reservation. Matter of fact, I canceled the reservation 3 times because
Dang.
consistently, you know, I'm asked. Now I can always say no.
Mhm.
That is some things that I take into consideration. I can always say no, but we
Mhm.
end up going, but afterward because of change of plans. So what happened is that I was told that I needed to come to work. Well, they asked me if I can come to work in the morning and I can have that evening off. But I had plans to go to church and then go to brunch to Juliet's. So when I respond to it, it was like, yeah, I got you. But after everything, thinking to myself throughout the day, I'm reminded of everything that you told me during these periods of times when you're not the CEO of your life, you're survivor mode, and coming into the thriving mode when you are the CEO of your life, where you can actually build something where you can pay yourself. You can be okay with your own bills, and you don't have to be under the obligation of someone else's time. You're responsible for your time, and it just kind of made me think about that. So that was like one of the notes that I had put on my phone to talk about. But like I said, we touched bases with that, but that's just another circumstance that I have been going through that is just causing me to, I guess you say, evaluate my own life on where
Okay.
I am right now. And I'm gonna say make realistic and rational choices to allow this process to be more effective and the best that it can be. But at the same time, do it in that rational, in a realistic manner. Because I
Got
can tell you, and that's going off of the fact I recognize it. I haven't been doing it that way. I've
you.
been trying to push the issue rather than allowing these things to. Because ever since then, I'm happier. I'm freer. I feel more generated. I feel better, and I'm actually can be receptive to a lot of things that I'm learning, and it is crazy because at this particular time I had got an evaluation at work, which is kind of late, but in that evaluation, it's like, what can we do for you to make this a better place? And I can say, well, I know quite a few stations, man, and it's hard to memorize all these recipes. So what you can do for me, to make me better or feel more comfortable at this place, is every time I push something in that window, push it back and tell me the right recipe. So that way I can get repeated time overdo it. Because I go over a lot of times and check the recipes and make sure that I'm getting it right. But if I don't get it right, push it back to me and tell me the recipe if you know it, and then let me learn it from there so I can get that repetition, because I'm steady getting moved here, but I just want to be the best that I can be. I said that's all I can be. So that kind of fits along those lines of just kind of accepting it. I want that food.
You want that? What was the last part?
That food.
Okay, look.
That's food. Yeah. So
Yeah.
patience, resilience is definitely one of them, and I don't even know how to name that. That one right there. I mean, studious, but I've always been that. But I guess just I don't know. What would you call it?
Constructive criticism,
Mm, okay.
possibly. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Because that's exactly what it is. That's basically what it is. Is, I guess, be more receptive to constructive criticism. Then
Yeah.
there can be some food too to change that appetite as far as acceptance.
Hey man, I tell you, when you start talking about the food that you need, I'm not gonna lie. I did not think that you were gonna list character traits, and that's good. Like these are things that you've identified that you needed to develop a stronger muscle in to guide you on your transition, on your new walk, in your new way, and that's pretty dope. And when you were saying about the patience piece, all I could think of my grandmother saying, uh, "Patience is a virtue." And funny thing about it, not gonna lie, never really knew what that meant, but virtue is just another word for character trait.
Yeah.
As I've grown to learn and come to know.
Yeah.
But also, as you were talking about the patience piece and realizing that you are working through patience through restraint, and the way you talk about patience is almost as if you feel like or think you may never have it. And I had a lot of thoughts in that space because it's like, okay, are you cheating real growth and patience by restraint? Or is the fact that knowing that you lack patience is to me a more acceptable statement than saying you are not patient because you are
You know
definitely
what?
working and grinding. Go ahead.
That man, that's a good question. See, and I'm glad you brought that up. And I would think, because I know that is what makes me, because it's definitely me with the understanding of, for one, characteristic as far as personality wise. I know that is definitely one of those traits that comes from that, and that is something that be on my mind as far as like. So I definitely think that it's a mind thing. As far as that's what I think, that I don't have it, because there's a significant amount of people that tells me all the time that.
Oh, well then let me jump in right there again because hey, my friend, that's God talking to you. You are patient because you know why you are patient. You haven't done anything to put yourself in trouble again. You are waiting. You are working while you wait.
Ooh, that's good. Hey, hey,
Yeah,
that's good. You're working while you wait. Hey,
yeah,
that's good stuff.
yeah. While you
Right.
wait for that transition, wait for that blessing, wait for that tide to turn. Yeah, you
Mm,
work while you wait.
mm, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
I like that. Oh, I like that. Mm, drink for that water.
Oh yeah, yeah. Cheers. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah,
So
that's
yeah, I mean, and I bring that up because I mean you reiterated people are saying that people are seeing it now. If people are seeing it, that mean you are doing it. It's okay to analyze the internal part because, like I said, the cheat code with the restraint things, but you're exhibiting it of what it looks like. So accept that because I remember when I picked my two words through my journey that I knew that were going to be game changers for me, and it was commitment and discipline. Well, three words: commitment, consistency, and discipline. Commitment wasn't too much of a hard one, but the consistency and discipline, and those were the words that I planted in my head. Knew that I lacked and struggled with, and I just put together resources and systems to implement that. And then people started saying that. Did I believe I was doing it? No, but people started saying it, so I had to believe I was doing it. Why would they say it? Why would they say it if I'm not exhibiting these things? But I was so much in lack of it that I didn't even know what it looked like.
right.
So yeah,
And a lot of times,
you a gym man, boy. You in the gym. They tell you all the time. People gonna start complimenting you before you see it yourself.
right.
Same thing.
Mm, that's good. Yeah, because that's a big fact. Because when, for one, like I said, I'm very big on character, and I'm very big on becoming more on the becoming and being rather than the doing. That's things that I'm founded on. But what's new to me is what it looks like.
Mhm.
So a lot of times I don't know what it looked like, and I don't know how I look when I am interacting and presenting with people. But they tell me, like periodically, they say these certain things. So I can definitely concur with I don't know what it looked like in those aspects. But I like that you gave me some homework. I'm gonna try to because I already got one word commitment. I definitely need to put that in my category as far as to start implementing things that I'm doing with my growth and development personally is commitment in there. And I'll probably come up with a couple more words. Resilient is definitely going to have to be one of them. And, kind of just let those things be the foundation to what I'm.
On your journey. We just gonna say on your journey
Yeah.
because that's what it's about.
Okay.
Each and everybody out there that's listening, whatever your
Yeah.
words is, whether it's one word, two words, three words, five words, it's what you're building your foundation for your next chapter on.
Right. Right.
And for me, it was what I lacked and what I knew produces results.
That's good. Mm.
You have to be honest with yourself and with who you are, and because it's gonna look different for everybody.
Right.
It may
Too
be
late.
similarities, but I didn't have the same experiences you had, vice versa. So it's different things that you need as a foundation to catapult off of, and then after that, you add the other things. So I knew if I didn't stay committed, because it's hard on this journey, specifically even fell into phenomenal, because you hear more no's than anything. So I had to be
Right.
committed, regardless of what happens. I have to see this to the end, because yeah, I don't know what the end looked like, but I know what it looked like if I stop, and I don't like that.
So that means I got to do something else.
So
So that,
yeah, I got to develop a plan, something I can stick with and be consistent and be disciplined. That means doing it even when I don't feel like it, because
right.
I am an emotional driven person and I was all about the feel. I don't feel like it. I don't
Right.
feel like it. Well, if
Right.
you only do stuff when you feel like it,
You
it
ain't
ain't,
gonna never.
it ain't, it ain't, it ain't even half the time. It ain't even
Right.
half the time. You ain't putting no work into what you doing.
Because you
And
ain't gonna never
the
feel
result.
like exactly.
That's
A big
crazy.
thing. You got too many feelings and they change so frequently. You ain't gonna never be in the feeling or the mood to do whatever you think you need to do with these feelings because they gonna come and go quickly. Yes. That's one of the things I learned about me being my personality type is not ever allowing your feelings to stop you from doing the things and just kind of push through and just go there. But that's not my struggle. My struggle is to feel in the process of it. So I'm glad that you, with your journey being different, that you learned that in that process, and now me actually feeling in the midst of it, I'm glad that I'm learning that too in the process because you can't just push your way through everything. You know what I mean? Yeah. You gotta allow those things to actually feel in order for you to make sure that these are the right decisions. Because if it don't feel good, why would you want to continue to do something over and over that's just gonna cause more pain to you in the long
Absolutely, my man. Well, yeah, that's it for me, man. Unless you got
run?
something else.
I don't. Those are the only two things that I had, and we was kind of on the same page with that. Even though you had your notes over there, you've been looking. You got access to my phone, so you've been checking my notes.
Nah, man. It's just a flow. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
just.
It's just a
Oh,
flow. You know?
let me make the beat for you real quick. All right, but nah, that's all I
That,
got though.
that's what you call being in alignment, my friend.
That is what you call being in alignment. I like that
Like, that's it.
word.
All
Yeah,
right, man. Well, beautiful
that's not
people.
true.
Appreciate y'all for tuning in to the Fell into Phenomenal podcast, man. I haven't picked an official date and time when I'll start premiering these, but I mean, we record these Monday nights after our Monday night momentum calls. So this one is going to go up sometime tomorrow, but I'll get better with that. Look, this is my life, and I'm giving you free stuff, so you got to work with me through my inconsistencies, okay? You
Okay.
know?
Hey, so y'all be beautiful, blessed to be better.
All right, and that's his out. My out is forgive society, forgive yourself, and go from felon to phenomenal, man. See y'all.